doing out there? We are sponsored by the good people at uwager.eu, also sponsored at SPR, at SPR Picks, and also SPROdds.com. Big Man on Campus finished late. There was a game after we got done on the air on the late night at campus yesterday that finished up in a tussle, a flurry down the end, and Xavier stole one from Arizona. Any thoughts on how that one went down the line there? Yeah, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties there with the big man. That's all right. We'll get that microphone squared away. But as you know, there we go. He's back. He's back.
All right, Justin, you were mic and cameras on, man. All right, there we go. Welcome. What's up, Donnie? How you doing?
Hey, man, doing good. Another day, another Sweet 16, packed action. Excited for this Memphis pod tonight.
Yeah, got a lot going. You got MSG, you got Memphis, you got lines coming out for tomorrow as well. You also have, keep in mind, Saturday you have some CBI and CIT as well. Don't forget about those games, guys.
Yep.
There are some money. There's some money to be made in those games. But yeah, Donnie, I'm ready and raring to go. We haven't done the seems like forever since we did the right side of campus. We've been doing the late night on campus, which has been very fun. By the way, last night had a great time with that. We watched the Gonzaga West Virginia game live. That was fun. So yeah, another fun-filled evening upon us here.
Yeah, let's talk about that late game last night. I mean, it was almost as if I was down in the office, moved upstairs, and Xavier had a short lead. And before I could blink my eye, Arizona completely took control of the ball game. And then before he could blink again, a couple threes go one way, and then Xavier is back in control. And a fun, fast last 2 minutes last night. Some interesting ways that it broke down. I didn't see it happen. I mean, take the points and pray. I always joke about that, but I didn't see Arizona actually losing this game to Xavier. That's just March Madness in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, we talked about this game. I had one premium play. I know you did as well. We talked about this game, and I'll admit, I couldn't believe Arizona lost this game straight up. Look, I actually had it pegged. I thought Arizona would really seize this opportunity, and I thought Xavier would just kind of go away. But look, Chris Mack has done a fantastic job. I don't know how else to say that. I would hope that Indiana throws whatever he wants at him to go to Indiana, because he's done some fantastic things with this roster. I was critical of this team all year. I have been. I didn't think at times they were very good, and they weren't very good at times. But you look at kind of that March momentum, that March kind of just pep in your step that you get. This team has ridden that, and they're in the Elite Eight and possibly going to go to the Final Four here. Who would have thought, Donnie, that either Gonzaga or Xavier would be the two teams to decide go into the Final Four?
Yeah, I mean, good for Gonzaga on that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll admit, I want to point something out, though. The late game execution by Arizona was hideous. It was deplorable. It was horrible. It was disgusting. Alonzo Trier, look, he was good in this game, but the last 2 minutes, he was pitiful. Too much hero ball. Ristich tried to be a hero on that whatever that was towards the end of the game. Kadeem Allen missed a jumper that was a bad shot. And at the end of the game, you're down 2 points. I'm not sure going for the win there is in the cards. You got to get to the hole. I mean, we saw it in the Michigan game too. Yeah. Jump shots. That's what this game has turned into. Taking jump shots, winning, trying to be a hero instead of going to the rim, probably getting fouled, and have a much higher percentage shot. So
Jeff, I don't get it. You have a really good point on that too. I mean, take that Michigan-Oregon game, case in point. You're down 1 point. Walton, we've seen it all year long, all tournament long, pretty much for his career. He can get to the rim whenever he wants to try to force contact, lay it in, maybe get a foul. You're down 1. When did the step back three with the man in your face down 1 turn into the best shot available?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. And again, I mean, I guess I understand when Michigan does it, just because that's kind of what they do. But if you're an Arizona team who, look, I mean, you only made 7 threes. You made 7 out of 27. That's not very good. It's 26% if you're bad with math. I don't get it. I don't understand that coaching strategy. And again, I'm just really poor execution late in that game. But you look at these kind of glue guys for Xavier, the O'Maras of the world, the McCuras of the world. And then you have the star with Blewett. They're getting some good contributions from Malcolm Bernard. And you got a big guy, Gaston's down low. This is a decent team, and I will admit I was a little blown away that they got that job done last night. Really impressive. Xavier has my they have my ears now, but. Tell Ed I owe him a drink for Arizona. Yeah, remember in the roundtable, Ed Fang was critical of Arizona. He says they weren't a very good
playing defense. Yeah,
they weren't a very good team, and that was a great call by him. Numbers were really on point, and you know, again, we won't talk about it. We'll maybe talk about it a little bit later. Lines coming out for tomorrow's games definitely interesting, but yeah, overall 3 very good games. One was a laugher. How about Kansas, Donnie? I mean, they just
man.
They've been rolling in this tournament. They have 2 30-plus point wins. They have just it's been rolling right now. It's going to be tough for Oregon. I would be, again, we'll get into that, but I don't feel good about Oregon in that game.
Yeah, tough place to play there, even with that in Kansas City. Once again, folks, they're the right side of campus, sponsored by uwager.eu through March Madness. And also, we can't help but look, when you're checking out SPRodds.com, very important to get the best line available in shopping. I know the key game yesterday, one of the wagers I was on, I got the best number I possibly could, even bought a half of a point down to 2.5 to steal Gonzaga. And I know a lot of people out there won with West Virginia at 3, 3.5, and buying up to 4. So I can't stress that enough. Always check out the odds, see where they're going.
Yeah, I actually did also. I got +1 with Oregon, and that one got down to a pick 'em. Again, it's really about getting, we've talked about it, the best of it. Everyone says that. Every guy that does this for a living or does this seriously will say the same thing. You got to get the best of your number. Whatever side you like, you got to try to get the best number. But yeah, look, the number didn't mean anything if you had Xavier last night. They won the game, so it didn't matter. Yeah, again, we are sponsored by uwager.eu. They have some great things going on over there. They're SPR Odds as well. I mean, I don't know if many know, but up at the top corner, there's probably 25 books here that you can get a line from. There are all sorts of different options to line shop. So feel free to use that tool. Let's jump into the games tonight, Donnie. How about it, right?
Let's do it.
And again, welcome to everyone out there listening. We really appreciate it. We hope you learned something here. We hope you take some of the info that not only we give you, but other shows give you, and try to find yourself some winners, either or.
Yeah, no, we'll get right into it. Let's take the first game tonight down in that Memphis pod, big man. North Carolina Tar Heels versus the Butler Bulldogs. Certainly another game, and you know me, big man. I've been talking all along. I love contrast and style, picking apart, picking and choosing. Last night, if you looked at the game, you thought Purdue had a big advantage down low, but the guards and just the ready-made Kansas offense was just too much for Purdue. Purdue had that early lead and just turned on the afterburners and blew them out. One of those same type of games tonight. Butler's going to look to slow it down. Where's North Carolina? North Carolina, as we know, supreme athletes, going to want to get out there, up and run it. But Butler's been here and done that. I mean, this isn't a sneaky under the radar, not Power 5. One of those mid-major teams a couple years ago that's finally stepping up here. This team hangs and beats Villanova on the regular, home and away, gives them problems wherever they go. 7.5 is what this line, I believe, right around 7.5 opened up, still sitting around 7. And it looks like the majority of wagers slightly is on the North Carolina Tar Heels here. It looks like too many points to me, big man.
Yeah, I'm not going to be betting on this game. I'll give an opinion, though, as I do with every game. Yeah, I would agree. I would take the points here as well. I was not particularly impressed by North Carolina in the last game. Yeah, they won, but again, like most games this year, some questionable decisions late and questionable calls late by referees. Arkansas was fantastic. They played really well in that game. Here's the problem that I have with backing Butler. They are a really small team. They don't have much at all down low. And again, I mean, you have to at least have something. They're a really poor rebounding team. And I'm not talking about 35, 36. I mean, they're barely grabbing 30 rebounds a game over their last 5. I mean, they're just not very good on that end. I definitely think it's interesting as far as the line. Obviously, Butler looked really impressive in that win against Middle Tennessee State, but this is kind of what Butler does. They don't really look like they have much of a chance in a game, but their senior leadership, their toughness, their Indiana basketball kind of shows through, and they're your typical Butler team. And Chris Holtman's a great coach. He's really filled in and came in here and really pushed himself into the forefront of this program. They are well coached. They don't make a ton of mistakes. You look at, not only that, but I mean, they don't turn the ball over too often. They don't foul a lot. They're under 20, which is good. Turnover wise, only turn it over about 10 times a game. Yeah, I'm not in love with this game. I'm not going to be wagering on it, but listen, I don't really trust the guards for North Carolina. Bigs might have a field day, though. This is tough.
Yeah, two good tournament games coming in with Butler there, beating a very game Winthrop team by double digits there. And also, everybody's darling Middle Tennessee State pretty much handled them with ease in that one. Again, blue blood UNC program here. You have to keep in mind, again, it's on a neutral court site, so we'll see how everything goes. But again, it is down in technically, Carolina country, being down in the south, southeast part of that region. So we'll take a look at that. If you're looking at me just to pick a game there, I would just take the points in this one just because the way it – if Carolina's up 10 late, Butler can make that close and get
one thing that is interesting, North Carolina away from home, not good against the three. The one thing about this team is they're not a great defensive team. I mean, we could talk about they're very effective offensively and they're a really good rebounding team. We all know that, but they're not the greatest defensive team in the world. And they have issues against the three. Butler also a team makes their free throws. It would be hard for me to lay the points, but I also think to the point of I could just see Butler getting totally destroyed on the glass in this game, but doesn't mean they're going to lose the game or not cover. I would take the points here. Probably I would try to maybe get 8, and again I don't know if that's going to be possible at 7 at this point. Probably not going to get back up to 8 or 7.5, but maybe the squares come in late on Carolina. I'd imagine they're going to be a public side as always. So not in love with the game. But I'll take a shot with Butler in this one.
Yeah, I would lean towards that. If we take a look at the next game, go ahead, man. What's up?
Yeah,
man?
I wanted to ask you something here. Actually, I wanted to point something out. Vitalis, can we talk about the refs again trying to take my money away on the Zags? Yeah, look, I mean, if you missed the show last night, you missed a pretty nice rant from both of us 5 minutes into that game. We're not going to continue to beat a dead horse on the refs. They've been terrible. I'm not sure it's going to get fixed either, though. So, I mean, the refs were bad on both sides in that game. It wasn't just one way. They were both horrible.
It was extremely excruciating to watch. I mean, the double bonus, you're not supposed to have the double bonus with like 11 or 12 minutes to go in a half. That's how the refereeing is just going over the top. You're supposed to, at the end of the game, maybe have 6 to 7 fouls with 3 minutes to go. So when you start fouling, you're already in the bonus. But this whole just parade to the free throw line and foul out your top players, and your star's got to play with 4 fouls with 7 minutes to go, or he's got to miss 10 minutes of the second half because he picks up his third foul at the 18-minute mark. It's just atrocious. Something has to be done. And again, I don't know what can be done.
50 fouls again. I mean, I'll point that out. 50 fouls, and it's not like this is the first stunt by these referees. This has been all tournament, and I pointed out I love this tournament. It's one of my favorite times of the year, but I have found myself at times finding this tournament hard to watch, and I'm looking elsewhere. I'll never give up on it, but it's not been good for the casual fan to watch games like this. Donnie, and that's the thing that I just kind of move away just for 1 second. That's kind of the issue that I've had in a lot of sports nowadays is not only are refs making it unbearable, but I don't know what it is about sports, but most sports are making it into no one wants to watch these sports. I mean, you look in baseball, it's too slow for a lot of people. Constantly, going to replays. Basketball, same thing. NBA, constant rest. No one wants to play anymore. It's too boring. No one wants to, watch backups. You look at and Donnie, quickly in soccer in the world, we have little nations that have no business playing Germany. They're losing 8-0. I mean, why is that good for the game? Why? I mean, why is that going on in sports? I mean, you look at every sport, there's so many flaws nowadays with these sports. It's just a lot of them are hard to watch anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it. We'll get right back into the regions here. Let's head back up in our neck of the woods, big man. In New York City, South Carolina versus Baylor. One of the games on the card, again, I mean, I love Sweet 16 action, Elite 8, Final Four, it's all fun. But this is the one game that I look at and I say, unless you have a wager on it, Not much to be desired in this one. And if you've watched the roundtables, the other shows that Jeff and I do together, we're not high on Baylor. I think Baylor has enough to get by South Carolina today because I think South Carolina is just, too limited on offense. I know they showed a little bit more versus Duke in the game before that with Marquette, but at this point in the season, I just think Baylor with Motley down low is going to be able to create a little bit of havoc, maybe get Silva in foul trouble early, which he does tend to do. But again, if Thornwell's not going well, South Carolina is not going to be going well. The line sits about 3 here. I know 60% of the tickets, it looks like, are on Baylor itself, which again, rightfully so. They're the more, pronounced team from a better conference, so to speak, than South Carolina is. I lean Baylor in this situation. Any mismatches here, big man, that you think that maybe South Carolina can exploit with Baylor, who is the higher seed?
What's so crazy with South Carolina is you look at the mirage that they were in that second half against Duke. Have we ever seen that out of this group? Ever? I mean, has that team ever shot that well? Have they ever had that kind of momentum? Have they ever had that sort of 20 minutes? I mean, that was a beautiful 20 minutes of basketball offense if you look at it. Not going to happen again. I find that hard to believe. This team has shown all year that they can't score consistently. They're not in Greenville anymore, Donnie. They're not in by the way, the UNC game, is it the same? It's not the same spot, right? No, right?
No, UNC is down in Memphis.
So there you go. That's you no longer have those UNC fans rooting against you. This is again, a bad spot, I think, for South Carolina. They've been reading the headlines all week. They don't belong here. We all know that. I think they're the weakest team left in this tournament. And look, Baylor, we can talk about how poor they've been at times this year and, kind of how outcoached Scott Drew has been. But you really can't get away from the fact that they've been a pretty efficient offensive team all year. They're a very good defensive team. I don't really see it with South Carolina. I have one premium play in another game tonight. This was close for me. I'm not crazy about laying 3 points in games, though. I think Baylor can get the job in here, but I don't want to bet on Scott Drew. Hold a gun to my head, though. I would take Baylor definitely in this game.
Yeah, by the way, Big Man, just to rehash back on that Memphis pod a little bit, interesting contrast in style with Carolina and Butler in this one. I know we don't talk totals a whole lot unless we're playing a certain edge here, but that's going to be one of those games where we talked about it earlier. Butler's going to try to slow this down. North Carolina's going to speed it up. Interesting number at 153 when one team's going to want to grind it out, play good defense, and walk it up the court. Maybe, I know the way the MO right now is typically you want to take overs, even though last night I believe I saw the final study or the final totals there went 1 and 3, I think, on the closing number for the unders. I might lean towards under since it's in that 153 range in that one.
Yeah, unders came through 3 out of 4 last night, and none of them were really close. Xavier, Arizona was, I guess, pretty close. That missed by half a point. But, that Michigan-Oregon game, didn't even sniff 140. UNC or Gonzaga had no shot at hitting 150.
Oh, my goodness.
And you just had a crazy barrage from the Kansas Jayhawks in the second half. But none of them were particularly strong as far as going way over or anything. I wouldn't. 153 is a lot of points. You basically need, you need Butler to score in the 70s. You need UNC to score in the 80s. I don't know that I see that. Listen, I'm not crazy about unders really ever, but when you're going to get that high, it wouldn't look the other way there. But South Carolina, Baylor, numbers, kind of right where I think it should be. I would probably lay the points here with the Bears here.
Yeah, my favorite game of the day coming up, 9:39 Eastern Standard Time, UCLA, Kentucky, down in that Memphis pod. I do have a premium wager on this game. 63% of the tickets showing UCLA betting with the public, but 52% of the money is actually coming in on Kentucky. So an interesting dichotomy there. Line opened up originally at Chris, big man, at -1.5. It has since swung to -1.5 UCLA, where Kentucky did open as the favorite here. An interesting one. Again, we just talked about a total number. 167 is showing up right now on SPRodds.com if you're tracking the total. That's just mind-boggling as a number. I don't care. Both of these teams can score. I get that. But that is mind-boggling in a game of this nature, neutral court.
Yeah, you're going to need 90 from someone probably to hit this. And, I've talked before about over-unders. Anything above 165 in college basketball, I just don't think it's a smart bet to go over. And I get these offenses are good, and I get, if it's anything like the first game, it'll easily go over. Yeah, but that was December 3rd. We're into March. We're almost near April. listen, I mean, 167, you need you need a team to go to 90. I don't see it in this game. You look at both these teams. You look at Kentucky over the last 5 games, really have played well in the defensive end. I mean, 66 points a game. Opponents are shooting under 39%. I know it's going to be difficult. Those offenses aren't UCLA, but this UCLA team, they're not shooting their typical high over 50% percentage. They're only shooting at about 40%. And I know for them that's not high. And again, they've shot 50% all year. Look, I don't know. I'm all over the place with this game. I have no real opinion on it. I would definitely look under just because I don't think if you're betting 167 overs, I think that's a pretty square bet in this game. It looks too good to be true. And I'm going to tell you right now, getting 167 is hard to do in college basketball. You don't see it very often. You don't see totals like this very often. I think this game's a little bit more tactical. I think this game hangs in the 70s, maybe low 80s. But defensively, I think both these teams would be adamant on playing better defense. And Kentucky's done that lately.
Yeah, clear for me. Just why, forget about betting the game. This is the game that you circle the wagons for. As soon as this came out, you saw UCLA, Kentucky was going to match up. Everything's playing into it. High flying offense on one side, NBA defenders on the other side. A lot of these players are going to be high lottery picks in this game. 2 high-profile head coaches and 1 high-profile father that will be in attendance tonight.
Yeah, is he going to be out there playing the game? He would probably get the over himself if he was out there because that's just how good he is.
Yep, he would go 1 versus 5, break the press. He would shatter West Virginia's press all by himself out there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and this is something, this could be the last we see of Lonzo Ball, really. If they lose this game, obviously he's gone. And I've said it before, I think this is the last we'll see of this group for a year or two. I don't think the middle brother is going to be anything close to what the older brother's been. But, yeah, I think the contrary thing would be to listen, I'd love to see Kentucky win this game. I want to see this UCLA team go away. And I've heard indications that Steve Alford in Indiana is pretty close to being dead done. So we'll see. I don't know about that. But, yeah, this total is just so high. I don't know that I see this going over. You also look, Donnie, quick point here.
Yep, sure.
In the second half of the season, after 15 games, over the last 8 for Kentucky against teams basically scoring 77 or more, so high-powered offenses, the under 8-0 this year in those games. So against these higher-profile offenses, these up-tempo offenses, unders are coming in, and it looks like a little steam move, I think, yesterday on this under. I think Sharps are agreeing with that under. I would look nothing but to the under in this game. We do have some, just before we get into that last game, Donnie, I think someone mentioned about have we seen the best of Gonzaga yet? Of course we haven't. This team's played terrible, Don.
Yeah, that's, to be honest, I actually love the way Gonzaga had to play and had to win last night because as being a team, they're used to eviscerating teams throughout the season. They played some high-level competition early in the year, but going through WCC play, haven't really seen too much, and everybody knows they lost to BYU. I get it. But it's really nice to go against a team that forces you to play out of what you like to do, being down in the last 2 minutes of the game, coming back and winning that game. In a game, again, fouls and slow type of play and, a lot of interruptions and a team that's going to prevent you to do what you actually like to do. I think it was great moving forward for Gonzaga. You see games like this galvanize teams to the next level. And if you're looking at Las Vegas there on the odds board, they're really going to back Gonzaga in this next one. Opens up at -8.5, which actually was a little bit eye-opening. But then again, big man, look back throughout the season. Gonzaga is used to this double-digit type layer.
Yeah, and look, they obviously really lucked out with not having to face Duke possibly at some point, Arizona at some point, Villanova at some point. You look at the rest of this group. You're going to have to face either who would they face? Florida or Wisconsin?
Who are we talking about?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga would face who's in that northern bracket?
Baylor, I would get Baylor, South Carolina.
Yeah.
All 4 of those teams. They'd be a favorite in all of those, of course. Look, they've been, and I think that's how good this Gonzaga team is. I said all year, I think this team, they don't have to play particularly amazing offensively to win games because they're so good in the defensive end. They have so many options. Nigel Williams-Goss last night, and I'll credit Paul Howard for saying this, he was terrible. He didn't play well at all. I mean, and neither did Karnowski. Williams Goss hasn't played really well in this tournament. If you look back to the South Dakota State game, he didn't play well. They didn't play well in the Northwestern game. They kind of sat on that lead too long. Yeah, we definitely haven't seen the best of them. They've had some interesting matches, but no matter who they face the rest of the way, they're going to be a favorite. I think this is finally the year that they get to the Final Four, you know, and it looks like it with the line tomorrow in that game. So.
Yeah, let's take a look at that last game up in New York City to end the night. 9:59 Eastern Standard Time, Wisconsin and Florida. Line opened up at -1.5 for Florida. Was quickly bet back and forth, but still hanging in there. Florida as the favorite, -1 pretty much across the boards. 60% of the tickets and 60% of the money coming in on Wisconsin, which is no surprise to me. Matching these teams up very equally here. The one thing they're going to have to look at is, you know, the public just saw Florida's demolition of Virginia. Virginia, you know, up and down all year long, can't score on offense. A perfect test for an SEC team that had a little bit more athletes, just to out-athlete UVA, and they blew them off the court, which coming into this game, Wisconsin's been there, done that. This game is going to be played at a Wisconsin level, walking up the court. Wisconsin has shot makers and also has the ability to play inside and outside with Ethan Happ. In this one, you know, being a little bit square as I might be, I would lean towards Wisconsin in here. But the fact that that line is holding steady at -1 for the Gators gives me a little bit of pause here that maybe the right side should be betting on Florida.
So are you, Donnie, inferring that you think that the public will be on Florida in this game because they demolished Virginia? Was that your point there?
I would just think Wisconsin overall as, you know, just a more national team where Florida doesn't get that spotlight. We all know Wisconsin. Wisconsin beat Villanova. You would figure that the public would be siding with Wisconsin because, you know, they've been there, done that, maybe higher profile type of team.
Yeah, I actually have a premium wager on this game, and I've pointed out, I mean, listen, I told you Wisconsin would beat Villanova. I said it. I had the feeling. As far as this game, I'm going to leave it up to you giving a guess on what I like in this game. I love the side that I'm on. Listen, I mean, I like it just as much as the side I was on last night. Donnie, let me ask you a question. I'm not going to talk about it just because, like I said, I have a premium wager on it. What do you think happens in this game?
If it's up to me and the way I look at it, I really like Florida, the way they played down the stretch. But I also like the pedigree of Wisconsin because, again, tempo is going to be everything in this game. Wisconsin doesn't have to do anything out of the norm to play against a Florida team. You know, Barry's a good player. Chioso is a good player. I mean, they have good players. Like Bunu going down really hurt them, but it seems like they've rebounded quite nicely overall since then. I'm looking at this game as coming down to the wire. I just think Wisconsin in the half court can execute better than what Florida can do. You know, and again, it might be a squarer type play, but I would lean towards Wisconsin in the situation just because the offensive execution, when it comes down to crunch time, I know Wisconsin can get the job done there.
Yeah, again, guys, I guess I'm having a little mic issue. Again, we're about to wrap it up here. Sometimes that happens. I can't really pull it out in the middle of the show. We'll try to just wrap it up here soon. Yeah, we gave an opinion, Andrew, on Kentucky, UCLA. I leaned under in that game. Donnie does have a premium play on that game. But yeah, Donnie, look, it's going to be great. I mean, I'm excited for these games. I think tonight the games, you know, as far as from a betting perspective, I think there's a couple more better spots than maybe last night. I only really liked one game last night. Tonight, I definitely think there's betting possibilities in all of them.
Well, folks, that'll just about do it for today. 1 o'clock Eastern time. I know Jeff's mic is going out a little bit there, so we'll dip out of here as well. Join me tonight and the big man for Late Night on Campus, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sponsored by uwager.eu. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, you might have picked up some tips here on these games. We'll be watching these live throughout the evening, so check us out tonight on the Late Night on Campus, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Jeff Nadeau, the big man on campus. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.